Hello, welcome to Community Distance Reiki. I'm Danielle Stimpson from Learn Reiki Philadelphia. I'm so glad that you're here today. If you are here live with us, go ahead and click that live chat button. Feel free to request any special attention to your healing that you may have. We will go ahead, excuse me, and start out by building a beautiful crystal grid to support all of the healing requests of everyone that's here. And at about the 45-minute to 1 hour mark, we will transition into the sending of Reiki, where you will get some Reiki sent to you whenever and wherever you happen to be, over a beautiful soundtrack with lots of beautiful lights and all kinds of good vibes and happy people. We've got some incredible folks in the chat too, so if you are here, don't be shy. Come on and say hi. If you're watching this on the replay, hello, I hope you're well. You're going to have just as fun and healing a time as if you were here live, but if you would like to join me live, my regular days and times for streams are listed in the description box below. You can also see my social media, my community Discord, crystal shop, and a link to all my online Reiki classes. So let's go ahead and dive into the request with folks already here. I did already start the grid just a little bit for us, so let's transition over to that. All right, so there's our grid. We have our usual copper right in the middle to help break up blockages, get things flowing. And we have some citrine to call in resource abundance. And we've all been working on that. I mean, who isn't working on that right now? So let's go ahead and see who is here in the chat with us. We've got Cora Carr, Blue Sky. It's good to see you both. I hope everybody's doing well. So let's get started with the requests. So we've got chrysoprase, peridot, flower agate. Okay. So flower agate helps with blooming and blossoming into the next version of ourselves. It encourages us as we grow and start to step forward into exactly what we've been manifesting and creating for ourselves. So let's put that here for now. Peridot is excellent for breaking up habits, cycles, things that are sort of negative for us. It's also a wonderful friendship stone, so this can also help with re-strengthening all of our good friendships, all of our good connections, the healthy friendships that help support us into being our best, and may also help break up any not so great ways of relating to folks too. So this really helps strengthen the good bonds. It's also one that I've used when I'm working through any kind of self-improvement kind of thing. It can be really gentle and supportive at the same time being really powerful to break up all those things that I do that maybe aren't in my best interest. So let's go ahead and sprinkle some of this in there. Awesome. So then we have chrysoprase. This helps encourage us when we are feeling a little bit left behind in progress, whether we're disappointed, whether we've had a setback, or we just feel like the end of our goal, like the achievement portion of what we're working towards, is so far away it feels unattainable. This is a stone that can remind us of all of the work that we've put in this far, and that even though something may have shifted or the path ahead is still kind of long, you're not losing anything with the progress you've made, and that the ways in that it changed you, the ways in which you grew at the very least, are going to be things that you take forward. So this is one to help prevent burnout, help encourage you when you need to pick up the pieces after something has failed or not worked out the way you've wanted it to. There we go. Definitely great for follow through. White and red coral. Beautiful white coral I picked up on the beach. This is for supporting us as we step into what we know as our spiritual purpose. When we are walking that walk but then feel like we get distracted or kind of told, no, you're not able to do that, you can't do that, and we then internalize it and kind of stop working so hard to move forward. This is one that reminds you of your spiritual path, of your ultimate end goal, and kind of gives you that gentle nudge of don't be distracted by this. You're going for something really special and something really meaningful to you. Whether or not other people understand it, that's not really your responsibility. So here we go with white coral. We'll put that there for now. Red coral is highly protective of women, especially in workplaces. It's a great anti-misogyny stone. It helps to protect women from being sort of triangulated, gaslit, or being kind of cut out of the important circles, the decision making, and it helps with any type of efforts, especially group efforts, to kind of relegate any women in the workforce as well. So it can be very protective, which can be empowering in its own way. So there we go. Red coral. And wealth blessings, we've got the citrine. Weight loss, cardio health, stronger connection with psychopomps. So psychopomps, for those unaware, are it's visionary meditation. Some folks would say shamanic journey. Some folks would say communing with their guides, or even mediuming or channeling their guides. This is iolite. This actually helps with a number of things. So not only does it help with those intuitive visions that we get, it can help clarify and strengthen that connection. It's also fantastic for things like weight loss, if that's your goal, managing money, and also balancing our energy in general. If you're someone that when you do a lot of spiritual work or energy work feels ungrounded, or you have a difficult time kind of chilling out and doing human things after, especially if that includes sleep, this is a great stone to help balance any kind of energetic disturbance around sleep or psychic disturbances around sleep. It's also just a great sleepy stone if you're struggling with sleep. So there we go. Another stone to help that aspect would be labradorite. Helps with intuitive sleep stuff. So I'm glad that you're here, and we're definitely going to have some for cardio. We'll just see what other requests are to decide which one. And let's see who else is here. Your stepdad with colon cancer. Blue sky. Let's see. Feeling misunderstood, stereotyped, pigeonholed. This one might help with that. Blue tiger eye. First of all, calming stress, bringing in a sense of ease. This is excellent at that. So, I mean, how can that really be a bad thing? But this also has to do with communication, especially anyone who is communicating the truth boldly. Being pigeonholed, misunderstood, stereotyped. Sometimes that's just people with old limiting beliefs of who you are, or they've just sort of misassessed something. Sometimes it's somebody wanted what you were saying to be misunderstood. It could run the gamut. This helps all aspects of that. When we're speaking our truth, sometimes we just don't get listened to. This is one that helps the truth and the heart of what we're saying to cut through no matter what. It's one that protects you to speak your truth. It protects truth tellers, but it's also fantastic for public speaking in general, and like facts over feelings. Like, no, this is actually what it is. This isn't about how you feel about it. This is how it's happening. It's also just sort of anything that involves expressing what's going on verbally, and that also includes the written word. So if you are writing things and those are being misunderstood, or if you're writing like an article or a website copy or anything like that and you really want to be understood, this is a fantastic stone. So yeah, so we'll bring that in. That's a great stone for like being misunderstood, and then like, okay, I need you to really hear what I'm saying and not what you think I would say. It's that kind of stone. Susan, and also, by the way, thank you for being here. And additionally, when you do pop in and watch this on the replay, I hope you're doing well. Greg and Susan, hey Fiat Luna, we are doing well. I hope you're doing well. Let's go ahead and support your dad with colon cancer for sure. Let's see. I really enjoy using rutilated quartz for that. Rutilated quartz is some of the older lore around it is that, and not that old, but if you were to go onto like an old jeweler and say, you know, I'm looking for a gift for someone who's battling cancer, they would often recommend this. And it's thought that the rutils, or those inclusions that you see, which in this case are like a goldish color that run through the crystal, those are thought to direct the energy exactly where it needs to go. And in this particular case with cancer, it would be to direct all of the treatments, medication, etc., to exactly where it needs to go. And hopefully that can help. It also is excellent for energizing, and that's where I find it helps folks in a very modern way with cancer treatments, that they can just really take it out of you. This helps to give you lots of energy and also to recoup energy after it's been kind of knocked out of you, whether it's because you've been ill, because you've been undergoing a treatment, or if you're just run down because you've been working really hard, which anybody who, like me, if you're doing any kind of retail stuff around the holidays, it's like, is it over yet? I know. This is one that helps you kind of recoup that lost energy. Additionally, there could be some other stones too. And let me know too if there's, I mean, if you're comfortable saying it in a live on YouTube, notwithstanding, but you can, you know, use any other way of communicating with me too. If there's any particular way that it's showing up for them, like if it's more the emotional journey, more the physical journey, whatever's going on there, I can add some stones to help support that. So, or if they have it showing up like treatments are causing nerve pain or lack of sleep or things like that, I can add other stones like more specifically to the symptoms. So keep me posted, and all the best to you and your stepdad. Support key with health and balance, absolutely. Malachite and larimar, absolutely. Larimar must be here. Larimar is one that I work with a lot. I absolutely love larimar. It helps with working along with our spiritual purpose. In a lot of ways, it overlaps with white coral. Larimar helps us to be like innovative in our spiritual purpose. It helps us to say, I feel called forward in a spiritual way to be of spiritual service, and I'm going to find the best way for me to do it rather than trying to fit into what we see as other people's ways or the way to do something. It can be, you know, speaking of pigeonholed, a lot of times when we go on social media and things, we get told like, this is the way that you do this. This is the way that, there's no the way. That's a way to do things. Everyone does their thing their own way, and your voice and what you're bringing as someone who's following their spiritual path might involve doing things a little differently. And so this helps with that evolution and with that trying new things, being a little bit more bold, and really listening to your guidance and listening to your skill set and the work that you've done. And it helps you to kind of trust yourself a little bit more and be willing to be a little bit more bold. It also helps with separating the self from the ego in a very spiritual way. So it's not about like, this is what I say it needs to be. It's more like listening and hearing the universe and saying, okay, this is what I feel it needs to be based on what I'm experiencing, rather than the ego and telling people what you feel like it needs to be from that ego place. So it can be a wonderful balance. I mean, if you've seen any of the wonderful documentaries about my industry, if you've listened to any of the podcasts, you know that ego can really get in the way. And not like, ego and balance is a good thing. Ego out of balance, not a great thing. So this can help us to kind of balance that while we forge a different way forward, that we're coming from a really good balanced place when we're doing it. So let's go ahead and do that. So that's larimar. I'm so glad that you're doing well. I don't know if you heard that, but the cats are going crazy. Let's see. I'm actually gonna bring in some malachite, but I'm also going to bring in some outside wisdom on it too. Malachite is a stone that so many people work with, and it's an incredible stone to work with, but so many people work with it in so many different ways. I use this often to deeply support the heart as we're moving through big change in who we love, how that expresses itself, like shifts in relationships, shifts in relationship patterns, seeing how we might need to shift the way that we are engaging in those relationships to have healthier ones, things like that. So I've used it for that. I've also used it for people kind of coming out of grief and through what is it like to feel emotionally vulnerable again, or maybe at some point reopen to relationships. I use it a lot for that. I'm gonna also look that up because we've been so busy lately, which is such a good thing, that I haven't been able to get a lot of wisdom from other practitioners on how they use this stone or any stone. So I'm going to go ahead and use this as an opportunity to see how other people work with malachite. And if you have your own ways of working with malachite, go ahead and put them in the chat. But I'm going to go ahead and share some wisdom from Cassandra Eason. And we've got and how does she use this? Does she add anything? Yeah, very much. Oh, she also uses this against depression and anxiety. I haven't used it for that, but that's awesome. This is one she talks about using it for emotional healing. It gives resistance to emotional blackmail and heals emotional abuse, especially from childhood, and encourages healthy relationships based on love and not on need. So that's like relationships also, and shifting those relationship patterns, but specifically in regards to like emotional blackmail is a really specific type of thing, but also in general, toxic types of relationships and patterns that are not helpful. It's like people being stuck together because they feel obligated and not because they want to be there. So that makes me think very much of the Devil card. The Devil card in the tarot, yes, it looks very scary and it's not a great card, but it's got what are really, like, I see them as the lovers, only they're chained together and trying to get away. So it's sort of like the bad habits that bind us, the bad habits that the maladaptive stuff, the misunderstandings that keep us feeling stuck in relationships that aren't fulfilling, to say the least. So yeah, malachite, I feel like that's very much linked to that. So yeah, absolutely. You have a large malachite sphere korokar and use it for big energy, mostly for depression and anxiety. Trauma, also for clearing negative heart chakra energy. I absolutely use it for clearing negative heart chakra stuff. Yeah, I use it a lot for it's a stone that comes out a lot when folks are going through therapy for relationship stuff, whether it's childhood relationship stuff or adult relationship stuff, and a lot of times they kind of ravel into each other. Negative attachment too. Yeah, makes sense. It's a really powerful stone, and it can be really grounding in those times of change, because when you change the way that you relate to everyone, it's like it shifts the very earth that is under you for all intents and purposes. So it's one that can be very stabilizing as you make those changes. So yeah, really beautiful. This is actually a piece of malachite that I have. These are them tumbled. This is what it looks like, or can look like, raw. Yeah, it's a really interesting stone. It's mined very close to copper and chrysocolla and azurite. Yeah, comes in a lot of different beautiful colors. When I look at folks worrying about whether or not their stones are real that they've purchased online, this is probably one of the ones people are most worried about. And I do see a lot of like very obvious fakes online, but most of the time it's just, you know, malachite. Anything that's mined near copper is going to be more expensive, and this is no different. But yeah, the patterns shouldn't be super even. It is usually your first bet. Sometimes it can be, it's possible. But yeah, they can be very different. And because it is a more expensive stone, we do see kind of impressions of other people making it. You don't actually have any malachite pieces except an azurite malachite combo. I think I remember that combo. That's a really cool combo. A malachite owl for mental and emotional protection. That's a really powerful image to think about. Owls are so protective and they have such keen sight. And working with them in a spiritual way plus the malachite seems really potent. That's really beautiful. Awesome, awesome, awesome. So let's see. What else should we add? Let's do some stuff for a key. Health and balance. Let's see. I was thinking shungite at first, but then it was like, no. I feel like tourmalinated quartz. So we talked a little bit about rutilated quartz, which is beautiful golden rutils, can also be silvery in color, those rutils. Sometimes it can be both. If those streaks are like a denser black, like this, or these. This is all black tourmaline running through quartz. Tourmalinated quartz has black tourmaline in and of itself is great for breaking up energy and repelling negative energy. Specifically, if it's running through clear quartz, it's thought to really break up stuck energy, particularly when it involves heart and blood vessels, which I know you had mentioned things for the heart. This can be a great heart stone, like physical heart, the cardiac system, but also for any kind of scar tissue, be it internal scar tissue, external on the skin, or kind of like emotional scar tissue. Like when we put, kind of like what we were talking about with malachite, when something is a wound, if we put kind of a protection around it and we don't want to touch it, tourmalinated quartz can be really helpful. It's also helpful for just like releasing nervous energy. Like we mentioned, patterns from childhood, it's thought to break those up. And it's also thought to help bring in new avenues of earning income. Like if you're looking to be open to more ways of earning, like a new gig, a new job, a new way of marketing yourself, a new way of creating, say, a passive income, some other stream of revenue. This can be really helpful to kind of break up the patterns of what we see coming in and start to see new ways of relating to it. Also, healing emotional trauma and working with protection against car accidents. Like a lot of people travel this time of year and they're like, can you put some protection energy for me out there? And because so many of us haven't traveled in so long, it feels really daunting. So as far as travel amulets, tourmalinated quartz and Moonstone are excellent ones. So we'll go ahead and we'll bring these in. Hey JS, hey Heart, it's good to see you both. Okay, so let's go ahead and bring this in. But this I feel overall is really balancing. It like breaks up the things that are keeping us in patterns that aren't helping, just like the peridot helps in the heart-centered way. This kind of breaks up the patterns. This helps to And other stones that I'm thinking about for key. Let's see intuitively what wants to come out. I feel like tiger eye wants to come out. Let's see. When it comes to balancing in general, I often find things like tiger eye can be really helpful. It gives us a way to kind of take a look from the top down and get some perspective. It's also very protective in general. This is beautiful golden tiger eye. Let's go ahead and bring some of this in with the intention that it help bring some overall balance. And we'll put that right next to the blue tiger eye. There we go. Yeah, and let me know if there's anything more specific for key. We also want something to help. There was helping Vincent to be their own advocate. Absolutely. Definitely the blue tiger eye is helpful. I'm going to put in some dumotierite because that can help with standing up for yourself. Can also help with anger and frustration. And I mean, that's never a bad thing, but especially around the holidays, it's super helpful, isn't it? It's also helpful for like nervous dogs too. But this one is helpful for standing up for yourself. And sometimes when we don't stand up for ourselves, things can start to eat away at us and they turn into resentment. And then that resentment can become toxic, and resentment can just sort of tip over into anger in a drop of a hat. And this helps us to stand up for ourselves and advocate for ourselves in ways that are helpful to kind of diffuse the anger bomb. Like, anger is a strong emotion because it's meant to help us fix something. It's meant to help us and sometimes advocate for ourselves. Now, of course, it can be really volatile and explosive, and it can lead to a lot of problems. But the more that we kind of like go in to see what's going on, the more that we can see like, oh, this is starting to bother me. Let me stand up for it now, rather than letting it seethe and then it turns into toxic resentment or explosive anger. So I really love this for that reason. There we go. Okay, so that's dumotierite. And hey, good morning. Jennifer Vatsa's here. In fact, Jennifer Vatsa supplied us with these beautiful dumortierites. Her crystal shop is on Etsy. You can find it at Belladonna Botanicals. Absolutely great. We all support each other in here. Intentions, letting go of resentment. Absolutely. Creative boosts and better sleep. You got it. Anything calming. Nervous about a phone call. Definitely blue tiger eye. Very calming, but also really great for communication, speaking your truth and having it come through clearly. That can be really helpful. So I hope that supports your phone call. Calling in a new job and home, the courage to take action to make that happen. Yeah. Oh yeah. We got some garnet for you. Calling in a new home, definitely included in the tourmalinated quartz. Garnet can be really helpful with the courage to do the thing, to make the things happen. It's like when you find yourself in that I know what I need to do, but I'm so scared to take that first step, or you're procrastinating around the first step. This can really help. This one not only has courage, it's also got productivity and ways of doing things that are grounded, measured, balanced, organized, so it doesn't feel quite so daunting. It's almost like you can see a little bit of a plan, like first I'll take this step and then there will be the next steps, so that it looks like the idea of how do you eat a big sandwich one bite at a time. It's also helpful for strength in times of change, and it sounds like you've got a lot of change going on. So let's bring in the garnet. Let's do Okay, cool. Go ahead and fall back asleep. Go ahead and get that rest. Disconnecting from the energy of others. Okay, gotcha. So let's do disconnection from the energy of others. Let's do a combo for that. So we mentioned tourmalinated quartz. There we go. So like I said, there's black tourmaline going through that. This is what black tourmaline looks like when they grow into larger pieces than just streaks. Black tourmaline, like I said, it helps to repel negative energy. It helps to keep others' energy separate from our own. It's a great stone for empaths. It's protective and it's very clear in like defining what doesn't belong where. And it's not so much to say like, ew, your energy's bad, go away. It's more like, that's not energy that needs to be here. It's not about judgment. It's just like, okay, this is what belongs here and this is what doesn't. So I love this. I've been known to like sew this into curtains, particularly when it comes to my old apartment in South Philly. We had some interesting neighbors, and I found crushing up some black tourmaline, because it is a very inexpensive stone, and I have it on the shop too. I have pieces just like this in the shop. I would crush some up, and as I was sewing a curtain, I made these like stripes to go across, and within those stripes I sewed the pieces of like the dust of black tourmaline. It helped so much. This is Dalmatian jasper. This also has black tourmaline running through it, but because it's not clear like the tourmalinated quartz, we only see the ends that meet the surface. This is a stone that brings the energy of black tourmaline through the aura or your energy field and helps to clear away whatever is ready to go. This can be a great stone if you're empathic, if you're around people and trying to like clear your energy field from other energy, or if you're going through a lot of healing and processing a lot of intense things, having some really challenging times, and you want to keep your energy field clear from what you're letting go of. This can be a great stone. Okay, so let's do this here. I feel like, yeah, that feels great. Okay, so there we go. And so I hope that helps. Letting go of resentments for sure. Ooh, perspective on Tibetan quartz, absolutely. Yeah, I have a piece right here. We'll talk about that in a minute. Stage 1, wake up, feed the cats. Yeah, right? Let's see. First things first. Support for key wisdom, love, and balance around change and sudden change. I'm going to bring in some jet. I know we've been bringing in jet quite a bit, and I feel like it's warranted here. Quick, sudden change and coming to terms with it. This can be a really helpful stone. This is fossilized wood, but not fossilized wood as in the tree died and slowly over time it turned to stone. This has been fossilized through very high heat, usually volcanic activity. And as such, it can help with grief and especially like, okay, now what do I do? That was just so intense. I feel like my whole life just got sandbagged. This can be a really helpful stone with that. So, as for help with sleep for Jen, we have iolite, but I am going to bring in, like you said, all the moonstones in a moment. Hi, Maddie. Tibetan quartz. I have some right here. It can look a lot of different ways. It's generally double tourmalinated, and it's usually got something inside of it, like something that looks either black or silver or gray. And you can see this one has a little bit of a vug also. A vug is what happens when there's a crater in a stone that's naturally occurred. Basically, there was something in the way that the crystal formed around, and over time, whatever that biological matter was degraded and disappeared, but the whole of the stone that formed around it is still there. Tibetan quartz is very, very strong intuitive energy. It helps us connect to our higher self, our spirit guides, angels, if that's what you're looking for, whomever you're connecting with, and bring that energy down and to be able to understand it and even write it. So if you're looking to channel spiritual wisdom to share with others or to write down for yourself, this is a stone I use a lot for that. That's how I use this stone. So yeah, let's go ahead and put this in. Why not? We'll put this here for now. We'll see if it needs to move. But it's a very powerful stone, but it's a very balanced stone too. There we go. Okay, so let's see. Let's do all the moonstones and letting go of resentment. For sure. Howlite. I love that for anger, resentment. We do have the dumotierite out, like I mentioned. But anger and resentment, I really love working with Howlite because it helps bring it to our awareness, but also in a way that we can make some measured actions on it and start to relieve the pressure and make the changes it's guiding us to make. It's also fantastic for teeth, hair, bones. It's thought to be helpful for things like calcium absorption and bone density, which is definitely a problem I suffer with. But yeah, it can be an amazing stone for all of those things, and especially like much in the same way that dumotierite can help with patience. This is an anti-frustration stone for sure. So it can help us to like relieve a little bit of that anger, resentment, pressure, and then see the deeper like what's causing that and what do I need to do to kind of dissipate it. Do some moonstone. Yeah, absolutely. I hope that helps. I'll even look up in some of my older books and see if there's some other good stuff about it too. Let's see. Moonstone. So moonstone and labradorite are all from the same family. They're very closely related. And so there's moonstone, rainbow moonstone, labradorite, there's black moonstone, peach moonstone, there's lots of different kinds of moonstone. There's even rainbow moonstone, which I actually don't happen to have. But here is an example of lots of different kinds of moonstone. Lots of different types of moonstone. So this would be closer to like a black moonstone. This is more what I think of when I think of moonstone. But essentially, I think of it as being very much connected with like the high priestess type energy. So everything having to do with connection to divine cycles, the divine feminine, deep wisdom, especially old or ancient wisdom, or wisdom within a specific like spiritual construct or religion or ancient culture. It also helps to, it's thought to help with attracting love, as well as in general, like I mentioned before, helpful for protection and travel. Sorry. Hang on one sec. Sorry about that. Can help with being protective during travel, as well as connecting with the rhythms and patterns of nature, because the moon controls the tides. And so there's, we're mostly made of water, whether we think about it or not. So of course the moon has an impact on us. So it can do a lot of those different things, including and especially intuition and connection to our spirit guides. So let's go ahead and bring in some rainbow moonstone, which is even more connected to intuition and very much connected with the same kinds of things that we mentioned for Tibetan Quartz. Bringing in clear visions that are intuitive, getting clear messages. I use it a lot, and I see it used a lot by people who are readers and channel mediums to be both protective and insightful. We'll also bring in some of the black moonstone, which also helps us in an introspective way to look a little bit at our shadow, which is the things that we don't see, the patterns underneath, the things that we could work on improving or healing so that we could ultimately improve the way that we move forward in life and our enjoyment of life. So let's go ahead and put that here. And I'm going to bring in some regular moonstone, which is all the things we already mentioned. And let's see, I want to bring in some labradorite for you too. Not only because it balances this energy really well, but because this can help you with the sleep stuff. And labradorite I see as like the more masculine side of the moonstones, more like aligned with the Magician tarot card. So I have the things, I know how they work, I'm going to work with them and make the magic happen. But it also helps with clarity in much the same ways that we talked about Tiger Eye, with being able to see the fine details and get sort of a bird's eye view of what's going on. This is one that helps us to see details, that helps us to see patterns, that helps us to find the small piece of something that might be broken in the code, that kind of stuff. It also does help with clairvoyance and intuition for sure, as well as any kind of out of balance intuitive energy that's keeping you from sleep, as does iolite. It's in general a great sleep stone, but it also helps with disputes, especially if you're working in any kind of customer service. So this can be really helpful for that too. So let's go ahead and bring this in. Let's see. Let's actually bring in, this is a piece of labradorite. So let's bring that in. There we go. That looks awesome. I wish you lots of sleep and all of the beautiful things, Jen. And see if I forgot anybody, and then we'll dive into the healing. I don't have lemon quartz. Oh, Heart, you're going to Longwood Gardens this week. Oh, that sounds amazing. It's going to be so regenerative. Awesome. And let's put in some stones for Greg and Susan. Let's put in some, I know for them we usually use herkimer. This helps with divine timing, being in the present moment, which can be so hard around the holidays. It's like we completely forget it. It helps to harmonize discordant energy. It also helps what we're manifesting or asking the universe for to be in the best alignment with our own highest good as the highest good of everyone else that it touches. So it's like not just this is what I want, but this is what I want, and I want it to work for everyone kind of stone. I love that about it. It's excellent for intuitive abilities and psychic abilities too, and with balancing metabolism. So let's bring this in for them. Okay. And then we're going to go into that thing that I haven't been able to do because we've been so crowded, which is such a good thing. I'm going to go ahead and pick a couple of stones to add to the grid. Y'all will vote on them to see which one enters, and then we will transition into the healing portion. So let's see what feels like a good match. Okay, cool. So I have one. Thank you, Christina. Yeah, I've got the quick finger for blocking. It's like but thank you. I appreciate that. Let's see. I feel like, yeah, here we go. Okay. I felt like both of them should probably be blue. There was a lot around feelings and things that need to be communicated, and I know this time of year, that can always be a challenge. The first one that came up really clear, blue apatite, this can help not only expressing emotions that can be a little challenging, but also expressing emotions and like understanding them within ourselves. This is also particularly supportive around anything having to do with like feelings around food, and that's such a loaded topic in our culture, especially around the holidays. So this is anything from stress and emotional eating to like guilt around the foods we do eat or do not eat, or how much we eat or how little we're eating. Whether it's something where you're not eating enough, or you're trying to eat less, or you're trying to eat better, or you're just trying to like disconnect from the stress, guilt, shame, anxiety around food, excellent stone, blue apatite. Yeah, we do get those every so often, and I usually just block them so quickly that most folks don't see them, but we don't get too many yet. We will as the channel grows, but yeah, they only usually spam a channel like 2 or 3 times because they know they'll be blocked by then. So it's like, yeah, it's kind of weird. It's kind of weird. It's more or less like a bot. I don't think there's any like person on the other side of it immediately. But yeah, here, this is in the same vein of communication and helping support communication is blue lace agate, which is a super gentle stone that supports us in expressing what's in our heart. So sometimes that can be really difficult. It's almost like when you're trying to say it, but it's like, oh, this involves so much vulnerability to put the words to this. Great and helpful for that. Also, if you need to say something and you want to be sensitive to someone else's feelings, like this is gonna maybe hurt or sting, and I'm trying to figure out the best way to be sensitive to that and soften the words that I'm speaking. This can be wonderful for that too. It also helps with anything like a sore throat. Also thought to help with arthritis and fractures in some cases, but anything having to do with the throat, this is a great one. So go ahead and vote which one you want to see. And just as a hint, if you haven't been here before, you're not limited to just one vote. So go ahead and say which one you think would be a better fit. And then I'm going to quickly explain what Reiki is for anyone who's new to the concept. And then we're going to slide into the healing. So as I mentioned at the top of the hour, my name is Danielle Stimpson. I'm the owner of Learn Reiki Philadelphia, and I teach Reiki classes online, small class sizes with really individualized attention. If you want to learn more about that, go ahead and check out the description below. You can also find information about the regular days and times that I stream, 5 days a week minimum, here on YouTube. Subscribe with notifications on if you want to know about some of the upcoming just sort of surprise pop-up streams, especially as we get closer to Christmas and New Year. I'll be doing some extra ones for all of us because we could all use it. There's also information about my crystal shop and community Discord, social media, all that good stuff below. So the style of Reiki that I work with is known as Usui Reiki, and it's named after the method's founder, Mikao Usui. And this particular style was founded in the early 1920s in Japan. Now, Mikao Usui had a lot of influences and was a Tendai Buddhist monk, and he basically had influences from Hinduism to esoteric Buddhism to Taoism, Confucianism, and certainly being someone who is deeply spiritual from a deeply spiritual family in Japan, Shintoism. And the very understanding and concepts at the foundation of this practice of just what energy is and how it works really do come from Shintoism, which is the indigenous spirituality of Japan. In this system, everything has a soul, not just me and you, but the animals, the plants, the earth, and even the very things that surround us. The thing that you're sitting on right now has soul energy. Everything does. And soul energy is moving. There's energy forces that flow between and beyond and around all of these things. One of these energy forces is known as a spiritually guided soul energy or spiritually guided life energy. And that's what Reiki roughly translates to in English. This energy is not mine nor yours or any one person's. It's actually available to everyone and everything, and it's, I would say, a part of you right now. Our body, mind, and spirit are always working with this energy to help replace the energy we're letting go of, to help evolve, to help shift and change in every conceivable way. And we are mostly made of water, as you know, and it's so vital for every function of the body. Yet on a conscious level, we don't need to think anything about how our body uses that water to support our basic functions. It's very similar in Reiki. It's there. We don't necessarily acknowledge that it's there all the time, and we don't need to think about how to process it. Our body, mind, and spirit just automatically know. During the session, you may feel energy shift on a physical level and actually feel it in your body. You may feel an emotional shift and feel your feelings beginning to move and shift. Some may come up to be released or just make themselves known. You may get some clarity from your subconscious and be able to hear yourself. You may also get some wisdom from spirit, some intuitions. Whatever you experience is purely sacred to you. Every session's a little bit different, so I encourage you to just go ahead and enjoy. You don't have to keep your mind silent. You don't have to focus on anything. Just go ahead and enjoy as best you can. If you feel like your mind is racing or if you're not quite sure if it's helpful information or not, just take a deep breath in and out. Also works really well if you get distracted. As I send Reiki to you, essentially what I'm doing is connecting to that energy force that runs through all of us and directing more of it to you. And that will reach you wherever you happen to be in relation to me, miles, kilometers notwithstanding. It also helps by reaching you no matter when you are. So you can go ahead and enjoy this if you're watching it in the future. Hello from the past. And you can always go back and watch past streams. You can even skip ahead to the healing portion. Just, you know, it's always a different time, but just go ahead and move the timing up till you see the lights begin to shift. and you can just sink into the music and the lights and just feel the energy flow. Speaking of which, I will send Reiki for 25 minutes, and during that time, I'll play some beautiful Reiki music for you. You can learn about the music's creator in the description below. You can also enjoy the lights. They will dim and move very gently and slowly through several different colors. They will not flash or strobe, so you are good there. At the end of the 25-minute session, you're going to hear my voice welcome you back in to take a deep breath, slowly come back to your body. And at that time, I'll reopen the chat and you'll be able to ask any questions or share any experiences that were meaningful to you. And then we'll go ahead and have a beautiful rest of our day or evening. If you think of any questions and it's after the live stream is over, go ahead and use the comments and I'll do my best to help answer them. And yeah, thank you so much for being here. I am here 5 times a week, same times, same channel, so you can always tune in. And also during your session, if you want to set an intention, you don't have to. You certainly can. Just go ahead and bring it to mind, take a deep breath, and let it go. During the session, just be as physically comfortable as you can make yourself. So that's curled up, taking a nap, or sitting straight up and just breathing, or you can sort of fold this in with any other practice you have, like taking a few yoga stretches or journaling, whatever feels right to you. This is all about supporting you to have a beautiful experience and the healing that you need today, which is always a little bit different. So thank you so much for being here. It's an honor and a privilege to share this with you today. And let's go ahead, see what won, and then get into the healing. Oh, cool. Okay, so what are we adding? Oh no. Oh, hey, Jeray. It's good to see you. Grace, I'm so sorry you have the flu. Yeah, Fialduna, you would think. Okay, so I think we're going to go with both, always both, and then something for Grace with flu. Honestly, rutilated quartz is really helpful. But we'll go ahead. Here's the blue apatite. Let's see. Let's do... Yeah, perfect. And then for blue lace agate, I'm gonna put all of it right in the center. Cool. Anything else for flu? Yeah, moss agate for you. This can help with anything that's spreading through the body, so I'll bring some in for that. Okay, so everybody go ahead and get nice and comfy. I'm gonna get ready to turn up the music for us. I think we are good. Yeah, we're as good as we're gonna be. Okay. Fantastic. Thank you all, as always, so much for being here. Enjoy your session, and I will see you in 25 minutes. invite you now to take a deep breath in and out. You can go ahead and let the kitten purrs gently bring you back. Thank you so much for being here with me today. And if you have any questions or anything to share, you can go ahead and put that in the chat. You're welcome, heart. Yes, and thank you, everyone. You're welcome, Jirai. I'm so glad it was helpful, Fiat Luna. You're so welcome, Grace. I hope you feel better. Oh, I'm glad, Grace. Make sure you take care of yourself. Definitely just give in and just let yourself rest. JS, you're so welcome. So everyone, I hope you have a beautiful day. Tomorrow, Wednesday, I will be here at 4 p.m. And then Friday, yeah, you see that microphone? And then Friday, 4 and 8 p.m. and Sunday, 8 p.m. All of those East Coast U.S. time. Thank you so much for being here. I hope you have a beautiful rest of your day. Take care and bye for now.